Hello, everyone. My name is Vernisa,
Hey y'all, it's Jen.
and this is our podcast,
Speak Up.
Hello, Jen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Nini?
I'm doing really good. We made it to episode 6.
Episode 6.
So, Jen, what is our title today?
Today, and just a disclaimer out there, we don't mean to offend nobody with cuss words, but our episode is called When Value Goes Up, Bullshit Goes Down.
Ooh, I like that title. Because, it's straight to the point, and we keeping it real on here. We speaking up, right?
That's right.
So, for those of you that don't know, me and Jen are best friends, and our podcast is titled Speak Up. We created this podcast to use our voices to motivate people to overcome life's challenges through self-love and respect.
Self-love and respect. That's always very important. That's our main focus of this podcast, and that's why we're always going to mention it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's very, very important to get those weekly reminders of that, because when you're constantly reminded of something great, you're gonna stay on that same track versus like floating around and just being lost. It's easy to get lost in this world.
Yep, we try to keep your vibes high, so this is a way to help.
And bullshit low.
That's right.
I had to throw that in there. So our topic: when value goes up, bullshit goes down. So we're gonna jump right into it today, you guys. We're not gonna sugarcoat anything today, actually. So. First of all, I want to start off with this question. So Jen, what does it mean to value yourself?
Everybody's going to have different definitions of it, what that includes and whatnot. But for me, valuing yourself means like watching out for you. Taking care of you, whether that means distancing yourself from somebody because they're no longer good for you, or working on what you got to do in order to achieve certain goals. It just means taking care of your business, so that eventually you can become a better you. To me, that's what valuing yourself means.
Oh, I like that answer. That's a dope answer. I agree with everything you said, and I also agree that, like, when you value yourself, you hold yourself to a certain level to where nothing negative could even touch you.
Absolutely.
And it's really about keeping it. Disciplining yourself to stay at that value. That's because so it's easy to, like, when you lower your standards for a second, it's easy to get sucked up into something that you could have avoided. You know what I mean? And it's important to express that.
Yeah, that's the thing about self-value too, that it's going to get uncomfortable. The more you work on valuing yourself, the more you're going to realize that you have to leave old habits behind. You have to start new, more productive ways to, really start caring for yourself. So, yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable. Definitely.
And I want to say, it's important to do it in a healthy way. Like, we're not saying be cocky, act like you're too good for anybody, whatever, like you're better than everybody else. Like, no, we're just talking about genuinely working on yourself on the inside to where, like, when someone would, someone who's just bringing bullshit to your life or anything, you're not entertaining it because you got better things to do. You have a mission, you have a purpose.
Very true. Yeah, and I'm glad you bring that up with self-value. That's the point, like finding out what makes you happy, what is your purpose, why are you here, whether it's financially or mentally, what you're trying to figure out, what your purpose is. Part of that means valuing yourself enough to go after whatever makes you happy. So that's going to include leaving the bullshit behind. It's going to include leaving negative people behind, all of that.
And valuing yourself really starts with the whole, like, getting to know yourself. I feel like that is the number. You can't value yourself without knowing yourself, because that's like getting, like, a new toy or something that you always wanted. If you don't know what it is, you're not going to care about it. You're just going to leave it, let it be, let people use it, let it break, but if it's something that you know and that you appreciate and love, well, you're going to value it and keep that value to it to where it lasts longer.
Absolutely. And that's why self-value is the most important way of showing yourself gratitude, because you're grateful for all the negative experiences you've been through as well as the positive ones, because you know how to take care of yourself now because of those lessons that you learned along the way. So valuing yourself is the most important form of gratitude. Like you said, finally valuing that toy that you've always wanted, or that car or whatever. So now, like, the version of you that you're happiest to be with is the one that you value the most.
And that means when that comes in, you're not going to entertain the things that you used to entertain. We've all had a time where we didn't value ourselves. We just entertained anybody, put ourselves in situations because we didn't care. But when that power comes in, it's just a whole new feeling.
It's the power of growing up. That's the whole point of starting to value yourself. As we were mentioning, when value goes up, the bullshit goes down. If you have lack of value, you're ultimately attracting the BS because you're vibrating lower. So you're kind of subconsciously allowing something in your space that isn't going to help you out, and you don't even know that it's in your space. You might just be happy to finally meet a new person, or finally have something in your life that you don't realize it's actually going to be detrimental for you in the future because you're not taking care of yourself on top of everything.
Yeah, you're just happy to have anything in your life because you have a certain void to fill. So think about it. When you have a void to fill, you don't care what fills it, as long as you're being distracted and you're numbing whatever is missing.
That's true. You bring up a really good point. A lot of people who don't value themselves, they do numb a lot of the situations that they're going through, thinking, oh, okay, it happened, whatever, I just won't deal with it. But part of valuing yourself is realizing the shit that you've been through and kind of allowed to happen to you, but knowing better than that afterwards.
Yeah, and it's sad. I mean, it's crazy because, I've been through this. Like, we've all been through situations where, something has happened to us. And we know that, okay, it was a learning lesson, but we're still blind to it. We're like, oh, whatever. So we just go back and entertain the same thing because we're hurt. And we take that same pain with us to the next situation. But instead of taking the time saying, wait a minute, what did I learn from this? I deserve better than this. We fall back into that. So it's attracting the same BS because we haven't learned from that and elevated from the stuff that we've been through. Anything that we've been through is taught to help us grow, help us elevate as a human being. But sometimes it takes longer. Like, sometimes you have to go through the same thing, 3 more times, the same type of heartbreak, the same type of betrayal. You know what I mean? But then when you eventually get it, you elevate a little more. Like, you know what? This is the same. I've seen this before. I'm not putting myself down this road again. You know what I mean? But when you're not valuing yourself, you don't really care what you're putting yourself through because you're like, oh, like it's that same toy. You don't care about who uses it, who borrows it, who's, who dropped on the floor. You're not taking the time to pick it up and fix it, figure out what pieces broke. We're just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna pick it back up and play with it again. When we need to really take time and dust ourselves off and say, okay, you know what? I'm not letting that person borrow this toy anymore.
That's true.
It all connects.
No, that's very true. Life will keep putting you through the same test until you pass, honestly. When you were mentioning that, everything we go through in life is a lesson, the thing about self-value is that it takes work. And it'll be the biggest project you work on, which is yourself. Because, like you said, you will be going through these cycles if you don't value yourself. So you will keep being run into the same person all the time. You will keep, messing things up along the way, self-sabotage. All of that connects because you're not taking care of you internally. Whatever you go through, you have to grow through. That's always what I've been taught. And it's the realest thing that I've learned because, I always wondered, like, why I keep meeting certain types of men or why, I can't get my budget right or something. Guess what? I'm still spending money on the same shit that I shouldn't be spending money on. The things that I should be cutting off. And it's little things that I don't even need, like maybe a coffee every single day. I should cut off on that. But I wonder where my money's going. I'm not valuing my money. I'm just assuming, oh yeah, I get paid in 2 days. It's fine if I buy coffee today because I'll have money next check. No, like part of that self-value is cutting off what is no longer serving you.
Breaking off those same cycles. We can't expect different results doing the exact same thing. So that goes with dealing with the same type of people, the same spending habits, eating habits. Oh, I want to lose weight or whatever, but I'm going to keep, I'll still eating that snack over and over again. All that correlates with each other, and all that goes into valuing yourself because end of the day, everything we do affects us as a human being. So we kind of, we can't stop life from throwing bullshit at us, but we can prevent how much bullshit we're allowing into our space. Absolutely. Bullshit gonna come regardless. Like, we fucked up, we're gonna meet crazy people. We're gonna, come across, like, something we want to eat, whatever. But it's about really disciplining yourself and trying to navigate through it. And knowing, okay, I ain't dealing with this. I ain't dealing with this person. This person already showed me this about them. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, going back to the thing about not having value for yourself, I feel like we see a lot of that on social media.
Ooh.
Unfortunately.
Explain.
So, like, you guys know that all these trends go viral. Like, for example, the Tide Pod challenge or whatever. When people were eating the Tide Pods, some people were dying or getting really sick from them or whatever. What were they doing it for? Just for attention? Just for clout? Whatever you want to call it. Because it was viral. They wanted the views to go up. All of this shit, which I get. We live in this competitive world where social media kind of is the doorway for you to become something or someone. Even if it's for your 15 minutes of fame, whatever it is. We want to be noticed. And I feel like that is very normal, but the way you do it shouldn't come from something like that. You know, like a Tide Pod challenge, or, you know, sad to say, the twerking stuff that was going around. You know, like, don't get me wrong, it's nice seeing what women can do with their bodies and all this stuff, but when does it become too much? When does it just become a source of desperation for certain things? You know, like, you're not valuing yourself, because then all you're known for is, oh, that girl who showed her ass on social media, or, you know, oh, that's the dumb kid who had the Tide Pod, you know, just because he wanted clout or whatever. Look at what happened to him.
Yeah, I feel like clout chasing is very big today. Like, people are doing anything for the clout. Like, and that means really jeopardizing themselves and how they're seen in the world. You know what I mean? People don't care. You know what I mean? And I feel like when you have this certain value for yourself, you're not going to do anything crazy just for attention. And attention, that's a big one, because, you know, it just shows like a lot of love. You know, a lot of love isn't. A lot of people are hurt. You know, a lot of love isn't. People aren't getting the attention that they wish they were getting at home or from their significant other. So that's why it really does start from within, because when you have this certain value for yourself, you're not going to do nothing crazy just trying to, like, get that attention or get that void filled. There's that void that's still missing, whether if it's attention, whether if it's love. You know, and social media, as you said, is perfect for that. Because someone could just make a video doing anything and it blows up. Okay, everyone's just going to do it. You know, so you really have to have this, like, you know, the Tide Pod challenge, like, it's bad for your health. Like, you're literally putting your life on the line, you know, or, you know, like I said, like, people just unnecessarily taking their clothes off, you know, but it's like, in that moment, they don't care about who sees, you know what I mean? I don't know, like, that's just my opinion towards that, like, you know, with everything.
No, it's true, and that's why we gotta have standards for ourselves. You know, we can't just be doing things because it looks good, or, you know, in the moment, it gets me 1,000 likes or whatever. Like, really think about what's going to happen after this clout is over. You know, like, how are you going to feel? And when you were talking about the attention that they're not getting from home or whatever, you got to give yourself that attention that you're craving. Any type of attention that you want from somebody else, make sure you're giving it to yourself first, because you got to be right within your own company before you feel right within others. And then that's when you're really going to start thinking to yourself, you know, okay, what am I doing for me that's going to help me in the long run? Okay, social media is fun. I can post a video of me having fun at a party or whatever, but I have to be wary of what's going to be on there. You know, I got people watching me, family, all this, you know, so I got to be careful. You know, I can't just be doing dumb shit on social media, getting into fights or anything like that. We got jobs, careers to worry about in the long term also. Like, you know, we can't just be doing things that it's going to be good for the first week, first month, but then afterwards, what happens? It's not fair.
And the thing about the social media shit, we can't get rid of it. Like, once it's out there, you know, and it's nothing wrong with wanting attention, but it's about getting that healthy attention. You know, like, that's what you're okay with being known for, you know, and like you said, we have to, like, really practice giving that attention to ourselves all the time. Like, putting our needs first and everything, so that way we're not out in the world just doing anything to get that attention.
Because that's the thing, you know, whether you're doing something positive or negative, you're going to get hate. You know, there's always going to be some people, you know, wishing you weren't doing something. So if I at least know and feel right within with what I'm doing, that's all that matters. You know, if I'm trying to, you know, like, do this podcast with you, and then there's people telling me, oh, why is she doing this, you know, or whatever, well, this is what makes me happy, you know, and I know it's something positive in the long term. It's not like, oh, yeah, you know, you're right, all I do is take off my clothes on social media, I shouldn't be doing this. No, like, this is something that is going to benefit me in the long run, and then this is how I'm learning my self-value, through this podcast.
Yeah. And it just goes with anything that you're doing for attention, who you're letting in your life. You know, all that goes together. You know, in the day, we choose what we let in, and we have the right to stop the BS. I want to expand on that a little more. Basically, you know, I'm going off of what I said about how BS is going to be around regardless. You have that power to say no. So let's do an example. Let's say you've been through a couple bad relationships, you know, with people, like, you know, toxic, like, they're really bad for you and stuff, you know. In the day, when you get out that relationship and survive it, another person gonna come up to you with that same bullshit. But it's about recognizing what it is and knowing, no, I'm not putting myself down that path. So right there, if someone else approaches you and it's the same pattern, you have the right to move from that. Just because someone approaches you and you're feeling them doesn't mean you have to entertain it.
That's right.
In the day, you have to look at the, is this healthy for me? Am I putting myself, I've seen this before. You know, it's okay to give a person a chance. Obviously, we have to scope the person out and stuff, but when it's the same pattern, it's okay to cut that off and say no, because you got to hold yourself at this certain value. And it's not hard. It's not easy. It's not, trust me, we all have moments where we're feeling vulnerable. We want to fall into old patterns, or, do certain things for attention and stuff. But it's really about sticking to that and staying strong on it.
Absolutely. We cannot ignore the red flags, especially when we see them in a different person. Derek Jackson has said, don't believe habits. He said, believe behavior, or something like that, where, like, pay attention to a person's character more than, what their short-term action is showing you. Like, let's say you went back to that person that you were in a toxic relationship with because you saw that they're changing for a little while, but then you see that slowly they start going back. Well, that pattern is clearly in their character, in their nature. So don't ignore that, because most likely a person who put you through hell is going to continue to put you through hell. I personally went back to the same person multiple times with this past breakup, or past relationship. So, it took me a while to realize this person wasn't going to change. Like, even though I was doing the best that I could to change most of my bad habits, this person, he would be sorry for a few days, and then we would be back to arguing about the same thing. Even though we said, let's forgive each other, blah, 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 it just wasn't going anywhere no more. So you have to decide for yourself when enough is enough, because you value yourself. You want better for yourself.
Yeah, and it's not about, feeling sorry for yourself. Like, yeah, we can go through something, damn, this happened to me, whoop-de-whoop. But if you allow it again, it's insanity at that point.
It's your fault.
Because you allowed yourself to put yourself through. Because we basically see a roadmap of where it's going to go. We don't always see the ending fate of something, but we can literally see, okay, this is not feeling right all over again. There's a quote that says, life will break you down if you allow it to. And that's literally what it is. And we got to stay firm on ourselves and pick ourselves first.
Yep. That's the thing, the fact that I kept going back to that same person, I was asking myself why we weren't going nowhere. We weren't progressing, we just couldn't be happy no more. And it was my fault because I kept going back to this person, hoping things were different, but ignoring the red flags that things still weren't feeling right. So yeah, that was my lesson that I had to learn, that sometimes you just ain't meant to be with someone, and you gotta cut it yourself. You gotta cut the BS. You gotta tell yourself that you want better, that, I'm valuing myself this time around.
And you feel so much better after, because think about it. Yeah, it may hurt for that second, like, damn, like, I care about that person, maybe I should have, but you know what, you're saving yourself so many tears in the long run, because why put yourself through the same shit all over again? So that's where it connects to, when value goes up, BS goes down, because the more your value goes up, the least a person can even reach you to bring you more BS and bring that back into your life.
That's very true. You have to cut off that access with that person or that thing that's no longer serving you. That's why it's important to have a plan of action for self-value.
Okay.
You have to be the one to decide what it is that you have to do in order to help your value go up. Only you know what it is that's valuable to you, what you're really willing to change, what you're willing to keep, because we're not entirely bad beings. There are certain character traits that you can be very proud of to keep. Like, maybe you're really strong, and you've learned that through all the heartbreaks. Maybe you're a really honest person, and because of that, you've saved yourself from certain situations by speaking the truth. Like, these are things that you don't necessarily have to change. You can strengthen upon them, and count on those character traits so that you can start seeing the negative character traits that you can change. So that's how you start making your value go up. And you have to keep doing it. That's the thing. It ain't gonna happen overnight. It's not gonna, be a one quick fix for everything that's happening in your life, but it is a way to start, at least to get to know yourself better as well.
Yeah, this is you constantly working on yourselves. Like, anything we go through, it's a way for us to work on ourselves even more. Like, okay, wow, how did I act in this situation? What could I have done better? And you just get stronger every time.
Yep.
And you keep pushing forward. I want to say, like, as a plan towards, adding value to yourself, one important component is self-discipline. I'm actually just started a book called No Excuses by Brian Tracy. And one of the quotes that stood out to me, actually I had to send it to you, Jen, was the more you practice self mastery and self control, the more you like and value yourself. And see, that is very important because, you know, another thing, when you start to value yourself more, you start to like yourself more. This plays into your self esteem. You know, it's just the way you move with people. Like, you're not, or if someone is purposely trying to attack you, bring you down, or like you see something that discourages you, it ain't gonna really stop you, because in the day you have that value in yourself. You know your worth, so you know, okay, I gotta deal with this next, like, you know. Absolutely. And the self-discipline part comes from, you know, standing firm on what you say you're gonna do, standing firm on your nose. Like, okay, someone might try to deal with you, you say no, but they gonna try again, and you have to keep saying firm, that even on your vulnerable days. We're gonna have days where we're feeling like, you know, sad, whatever, like, you know, whatever, we want some company, whatever, but in the day, when you stand firm on it, you're going to feel way better. And self-discipline is very, very, very important, especially when working on yourself, because self-discipline can go a long way. Watching the food you eat because you want to lose weight, you know, watching, you know, like you said, spending your money wisely, you know, just things you do for attention, you know, all that stuff ties into self-discipline. So it's important to aim towards that and use it as a goal.
Absolutely, and that's where standards come in too. You know, when we talk about standards, you guys, we're not just talking about dating standards. We're talking about standards for your life in general. Standards for your budget. You know, being self-disciplined on what you will and won't spend money on. Standards for your own body. Like, okay, you want to achieve a certain body type, or, you know, you have body goals in mind. You're gonna have to be disciplined. You're gonna have to have standards for what you're allowing into your body, food-wise, liquid-wise, whatever, you know, cut off on that alcohol, whatever it is that you got to do. You got to have that self-discipline, because you got to realize I'm worth more than whatever temptation is trying to come my way. You know, like we've been talking about, BS is going to be happening to you in life, you know, and if you allow it, you are going to fall. So that's where that self-discipline and those standards come in. It'll make it a little bit easier to remind yourself why you're doing this. You know, I care about myself enough to know that I'm going to make it through this.
We're our biggest work of art. And we follow ourselves through life. So the more we let old shit get to us and we fall, the harder it's going to be to get up out of it. So we keep pushing things back, still dealing with stuff. We're going to be at a worse state than if we cut it off quicker and we're more self-disciplined at the beginning. And like I said, none of this stuff is easy. Like, me and Jen are constantly every day, but like, you know what I mean? We check each other every day. You know, it's also good to have an accountability partner. Like, you know, she's my best friend, but I look at her as that too. Like, we check each other when we're about to fall. And like, if that's helpful for you too, that helps. Just like when they say, you know, when some people prefer a trainer when they're working out, like anything that you need to do to keep on track and stay, you know, stay committed to your worth, that's the thing. And that's why it's important to have good friends that are like, if you about to date someone and they're not treating you right, they're being real and telling you like, this person, I know you deserve better, and really mean that, not just saying it because they want to see you single or whatever, you know. And it's important in all aspects of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like we were saying, you got to be firm on what you do and don't allow into your life. You have that power to choose what has access to you. You know, if it's a person that is no longer serving you, okay, block them, but keep them blocked. You know, do what you say you're going to do. You know, if you said, I'm never going back to this person, I'm never going to talk to this person ever again, or, you know, I learned better from my past experience with throwing up with alcohol or whatever, so I'm not going to drink that much anymore. Okay, do what you said you were going to do. In that case, stay firm on that. Set that standard for yourself, because you're the one who has that power of allowing or not allowing access of certain things into your life. Okay, so when you have that, your value is going to go up, because you're realizing, I'm no longer that person I was whenever such and such happened to me.
Yeah, and I want to say for the ladies out there, even men, but ladies, a nigga gonna do what you allow them to do. You know, like, it's a big thing. Like, I've seen a lot of blogs and stuff like, oh, why isn't this guy treating me like this? Why, you know, in the day, they gonna do what you allow. So if you're not, you know, if you're putting up with whatever they're cheating, and you keep taking them back, and you're like, why is he cheating on me? Obviously, he's comfortable doing it because you're not taking it serious. That's why it's okay. Sometimes you got to pick yourself. Like, okay, I love this person, I care about this person, but I'm out this bitch, you know, like, I'm not dealing with it. And that's when a person wake up like, oh shit, she wasn't playing. That's when anything, like, or if you have a friend that keeps doing something, you know, whatever, if they do it again, you know, people, they believe actions more than words. You can say, I believe, I'm gonna stop dealing with you, but if you still live with them, they gonna do what they do. So it's really about, like you said, standing firm on that no, standing firm on that decision that you said you're gonna make. And then that's how a person learns. They learn better when they see it, like, damn, this motherfucker wasn't playing.
Yeah.
You know, and another thing, you know, I notice big in our generation, a lot of people think in the present. No one really is thinking in the long term, and that's very problematic because, you know, me and Jen, we're 25, so, You know, things was cool. It was 18, 21, 22. Yeah, you can make them little decisions, you know, in the moment things and do things. I'm not saying we don't still make little small in the moment decisions, but you know, we're almost, you know, we're 5 years from 30, you know, then after that, 40's approaching. So it's like, these are the times when things really matter. Yep. And any little small decision can have a big outcome later. So we have to think in the long term, the kind of company we're entertaining, the kind of shit we're posting on social media, the, you know, things we're doing with our body doesn't eat, you know, doesn't, retain food the same way it used to. Now it's like it's harder to lose weight versus when we were 21. You know, our alcohol tolerance is different. So now we was really trying to start thinking about our health, thinking about, you know, financial situations. Like, you know, we're not young anymore, bouncing around job to job. Like, it's time to be more like, okay, or people that we're dating, you know, looking more into long term versus like quick little moments. You know, what does that get you later?
Yeah, we ain't that young no more. You know, a lot of us, we have to be making decisions that are going to have to be for our future. You know, like, do I really need this $200 pair of shoes right now? Or can I put it into my savings account instead for an emergency or something? We got to start thinking about our 401ks. You know, like you mentioned, the people we're dating now, we're 25. So, okay, you know, I am starting to date this guy because, you know, I think he's cute right now or whatever. Little do I know, 2 years goes by, 3 years goes by, 5 years goes by, I'm 30, you know, I'm thinking about marriage and wanting to have kids, and I'm still with this person who I haven't grown alongside with. Or vice versa, he probably hasn't grown alongside me. Like, this is the problem, you know, we got to start thinking, how is this going to affect me in 5 years? Even next year, you know, what difference is this going to make in my life? Do I still want to be with this person? You know, how am I going to grow in the future from this? Like you said about food, you know, our bodies don't digest the way that they used to no more. So, okay, I'll have my cheat meals every now and then, but I can't have cheat meals at 12 midnight like I used to no more. You know, I can't be drinking alcohol every fucking weekend. Like, you know, it's not the same thing no more. We're not the same people. So I would hope that we're all starting to think in the long term. Yes, do things that are fun right now. You know, if you got all your bills paid and everything, you know, you've already put into your savings and shit, and you still want to get those pair of shoes, all right, by all means, you can afford it, go ahead. But the thing is, don't let that be what your drive is. Like, every paycheck, I'm looking forward to going shopping or, you know, doing this for myself or whatever. Like, think about your future. This is what matters.
Yeah, because in the day, we're writing our book right now. You know, I'm really big on this. Our 20s really define the rest of our life. You know, like, this is the time where any mistake we make, it's getting crucial. You know, it's just like when you think about college. Like, yeah, you're in middle school, you could probably slip on your grades. When you got to high school, that's when colleges are staring at your grades. So it's like you really had to pick up the pace. So that determined if you were going to get into a four-year university or whatever at the time. You know, so it's like these are the years that matter. You know, and it's really all about thinking long term. I also want to say, like, getting rest. Like, you know, I notice we don't sleep, and I'm really trying to work on giving myself more time, just to have my time to myself, to just really rest, lay there, think with myself, get to know myself more. You know, this is really the solution to what the whole value of something is, getting to know yourself, spending time with yourself, knowing who you are, appreciating your peace. Because when you appreciate the peace with yourself, you are not going to want to entertain any bullshit at that time.
Yeah, when you start to get comfortable in your own skin and knowing that you're going to be okay, you know, not talking to a certain person no more, that's where that growth comes in. That's where that value is really starting to shine through. Like, for me personally, I like to have my spa days. That's how I get to know myself. I paint my nails, I do hair masks, face masks, you know, I shave, whatever. Like, I'm pampering me. But while I'm pampering me, guess what? I'm reading a book. Or I'm watching a documentary on something. Like, I'm growing, I'm expanding myself intellectually, so that way I can find what lights my soul on fire. What really makes a difference in my life now, you know? And every now and then I'll binge on some comedy show, you know, I'll talk to my mom about nothing, you know, just because I want to spend time with her. Getting to know yourself as an overall person includes having that balance as well. We're not saying take life so seriously that you ain't got time for fun. Shoot, we're still young. That's the thing, you know, but at the same time, you have to be okay with yourself. I saw this quote that says, if you're not okay being by yourself, you're not going to be okay being with somebody else. And that's the thing. Like, we all think that someone else is the answer to our happiness, and that's not true. Our answer to happiness is within us. Whether it's through God, whether it's through meditation, whether it's, you know, through your career, whatever it is that makes you happy to be you, That's where your value is coming from. Pay attention to that voice.
Mm-hmm. Pay attention to what you like. Like, I have my days where I'll just go take a drive for myself. I love long drives with my music. Oh, I feel like wearing my hair out crazy, wearing like a different color lipstick, because that's how I'm feeling. I'm learning me and what makes me feel at peace. And when you get that, when someone does come and try to violate that, you're going to be quick to cut them off. And your self-esteem goes higher because you know what? I ain't got time for that. And you're not going to be feeling like you have this void to fill. Then when you do that, your vibration becomes high. And you know what? You will start attracting people whose vibration is at that level of yours.
Yeah, that's very true. I'm glad you brought up the point about self-esteem, because value is ingrained in it. You know, if you believe you're worthy of something, that's your self-esteem speaking for you, because you're saying, you know, whatever happens in life, I know I'm going to get through this. I know I'm strong enough to make it through.
Yeah. And when that being said, nothing can knock you down because you have the self-discipline and everything.
Yeah, in the end, you guys, it's all about learning how to vibrate higher in different ways, you know. So this is pretty much where we're going to leave off with you guys. You know, we just wanted to get the point across that you choose what your value is coming from.
And when your value is higher, bullshit gets lower.
That's right.
Remember that. Because in the day, you're driving the car, you get to pick what destination you go to, which turn you want to make.
Yeah, absolutely. So we thank you guys for listening to this episode. We appreciate each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for all the support.
Thank you guys again for tuning in. Follow our Instagram page at SpeakUp JV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Podbean channel, and check us out on iTunes. We will talk to you again in episode 7.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.